Alright, guys, this is just going to be like a bullshit around car talk. Not really about anything. Just whatever's in my mind. Little hangout. So, first off, I was listening to these guys. If you want to look them out, they have a podcast. It's Shane Smith, a comedian, and his brother, who it's hilarious to see brothers, like when you know one of them, and then you meet the other one, and you're like, oh shit, look, he's basically like a slightly different you. It very much is that vibe. But it's called the Sody Boys podcast, and it's super cool. Just super dope. Highly recommend it. But they were talking about recommendations of horror movies, right? So to me, there's two categories of horror movies, right? There's like silly horror movies, and then there's scary horror movies, and then the very rare movies that do both. And the only one that comes to mind that actually does both to me is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Because it's like super silly and fucking stupid the whole time, and then out of nowhere they have like two scenes in particular where you're like, oh, that was the scariest moment of cinema I've ever seen in my life. And they could have made this the scariest movie ever and decided not to, but they could have, right? So, whoa, super dope. Sorry, I just shot a cough drop at myself at 1,000 miles an hour. But, super dope. But I was thinking, like, what makes a good, scary horror movie, right? And I think, one, it has to have an interesting story. But two, I'm just really tired of movies that are, like, not, like, the premise itself is just not scary. It's like these people are just too polite to defend themselves or whatever. And I'll give you an example. So, like, any movie where if I'm in that situation, I can literally fuck up the whole situation with a prayer or a gun, that horror movie is stupid, right? And I'll give you a practical example of this. The Strangers, which for some reason, beyond me and my understanding, The Strangers is a very, very popular movie, right? It even got a sequel or two, right? I don't get it. It's just some fucking people trying to kill you. Like, I have a gun, and I work out a lot, and I train. So it's like, this really isn't a threat. Like, I don't understand how a dude and two chicks trying to kill you is considered a horror movie. And then the inverse of that, The Conjuring. Again, it's like, boogity, boogity, boogity. Like, you know, oh, a ghost turned my TV off or whatever. Or a ghost talked to me from a closet and clapped its hands. It's like, who gives a fuck? Like, you know, just pray. Like, it's not, if you can get out of the hypothetical horror movie situation by praying or using a Glock, or, for, in my opinion, the 1911, a better pistol for me, then, you know, is it really scary? Not really. You know, like, how do people die in these movies? They just either do dumb shit. So the example in The Devil Made Me Do It, where someone almost dies, he willingly asked the demon to come into him, right? Gave it an invitation. And then in The Strangers, they do a bunch of dumbass shit to die. And it's like, you almost scream at the TV, like, are you trying to die, right? So to me, those movies just aren't scary. Like, it's not scary for me to see someone in a very avoidable, very easily handleable situation almost die. Like, that's not scary, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Moral of the story. Here's my recommendations. All right, here, get to the core of the issue. I'm going to throw off the top of my head just a few horror movies that are great. So, first off, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's funny. It has this really cool vintage vibe to it. And it's fucking terrifying, right? I could not solve that situation with a Glock or a prayer, right? So, boom. Great horror movie. Let's think of another one. We'll say all the Halloween movies. Love those. One that's extra stupid, extra not on my list, is the Child's Play franchise with Chucky the doll. I could solve that with a prayer and or a fucking gun. Or no gun, just with my hands. Like, it's a doll that was made in a factory. I could rip that shit with my hands. Like, this is not a threat, right? Like, or like how he bites people, and it's like, oh, look, he bit a chunk out of my hand. It's a fucking toy. It's plastic. No matter how much pressure you apply to my hand with a very flimsy plastic, I flex my hand, it bends. Like, it's not a threat, right? So I can fix that with the Glock, and then he's there because of voodoo. So, like, fuck your voodoo. If you do voodoo and you're watching this video, fuck yourself. You know why? Because Jesus Christ is in my heart, and you serve demons. I serve the creator of all things. You serve the created thing. So, you and your demon, hoochie mama ancestor can fuck yourselves, because I serve the creator of the universe. You can't do shit about it. So, that movie I could solve with prayer and or a Glock. Extra dumb, right? Let's see what else. Halloween movies are great. Nightmare Before Christmas, obviously. Corpse Bride, obviously. Anything Tim Burton, obviously. What else? It's not pitched as a horror movie, but that, what is it called? Like The Deep, or like Real Deep or something like that. It's about these like oil divers. They're welders or whatever, and they go down like in oil rigs to like repair the pipes and stuff. And obviously, guess what happens, right? They get stuck down there or whatever. But fantastic movie. It's not pitched as a horror movie, but I would watch that as part of my horror movie lineup. Just because it's so terrifying, like so uncomfortable. What else? Let's see. One more good one. The Black Phone was a fantastic movie. Anything zombie, World War Z, fucking phenomenal. What else? Cujo, amazing. It should be stupid, but it's not. So we'll say those are my movie recommendations and my general thoughts on horror movies, right? And voodoo, and the bitch-ass motherfuckers who practice voodoo. What else? So I had a really cool conversation today with one of my buddies. So, you guys don't know me in person, but basically who I am when I just talk and spout off is who I am in person. I just like being friends with people. I love people, right? Which is kind of funny because I'm an introvert by nature. Like, I need to get away from people to recharge. But that being said, I just love people, right? I love going up to someone, seeing how they're doing, memorizing their name, or like if they, have something going on, like a health thing, which I work at a hospital. So like if someone comes in for a procedure and they work there and I see them 2 months later, I'll be like, hey, how was your recovery? And, just making people feel loved and feel special. Like, that means the world to me, because I've always felt like no one gives a shit about me, right? So like the natural extension of that is I want every single person I interact with to feel loved and feel important and feel heard. Like, I want to, as I'm talking to someone, grip onto every word that they say and make sure that they know that they mean enough that I listen to everything they had to say as if my life depended on it, right? Like, that is what I set out to do every day, right? Or part of what I set out to do every day. So, and it brings me joy, like as much or more than it does them. So my buddy Pat, who I work with, I'm not going to give you any other information about him, period, because that's his own, life and his own business. And yeah. We were talking about lifting and some injuries that we've, gotten or given ourselves, if we're honest, over the years of lifting and, just real lifting. Like, not this, like, oh, I'm going to the gym to lose 5 pounds. Like, no, fuck that. Like, get in a powerlifting gym. There's no music, or it's a boombox blasting like Metallica. Like, there is no other option, right? And there's no fucking lights. You piss in a barrel, you know, or bucket or some large trash can container in the corner, and then you put your dick back in your pants and you go hit your squat. Like, that's the kind of gym that we both love and that we both, like, you know, grew up in. So we're talking about, you know, where we like to work out or what we like to do and all this. And I mentioned that I have a home gym. He's like, that's awesome. I was like, yeah, dude, because, you know, I had a good power gym in LA, and then I, you know, move around a little bit and did like the day pass thing just to fill out a few other gyms, and everyone trains like pussies and there's pop music on. Like, I don't want to lift in that, right? I don't want to wait for a bench press to open up with kids on their phone or some dude just sitting there taking selfies while I need to hit a lift. Like, I will grab that phone and projectile, you know, destroy it into a million pieces off the nearest wall and start loading plates on, because I know that he can only bench a plate, right? To start getting my warm-up sets in. Like, I know about myself that I do not interact well with other people while I'm working out, and I don't want to end up in prison. So I have a home gym, right? And if it's a real hardcore gym, then I'm fine, because everyone's fucking like that. Like, no one's bringing out phones, no one's taking a fucking selfie. If you're pinned under the bench, there will, on the other side of that, be someone to help you out. Like, it's not, you know, it's not that we don't like each other. It's just that everyone there is a real motherfucker there to lift heavy-ass weights. And we all know what we're about. No one's talking to each other. No one's bullshitting. You bullshit at the beginning. You hit your workout, maybe bullshit after, right? So, like, a real gym. So we were just talking about gyms that we like, some gyms we've been to. He's, like, an older guy, so he's seen, like, a lot of cool shit, you know? Gyms that have long since died, that I never got the opportunity to work out in because I wasn't born yet. And he said, hey, dude, do you have a curl bench? Which, if you guys do not lift, what a curl bench is do you know that, like, platform? It's like a upside down V, like a wedge platform with a seat on it, and you get like a barbell or a easy curl bar, and you put like your armpits in the crease, and then you do curls on it, right? So he asked if I had one of those, and I said, nah, Pat, I don't. I've always wanted one, but the problem is they're like $500, right? Like, there's cheap ones you can get for like $250 or whatever, but for one that will not break under the weight and poundage that I would put it through, it'd be about $500 because it has to be like commercial grade. So he's like, hey, I have one that I had in my house for the longest time, because he do his accessories at home, right? Do his big compound lifts at the gym, accessories at home. Classic powerlifter shit that we all know, right? So he said, hey, I don't use it anymore. Do you want it? And it was just so cool, guys. Like, I can't tell you how much that means to me, because it's like I genuinely give all, like, it's very draining to care about people, right? And people don't talk about it. Like, it's so easy to just not give a fuck about people and go through your day. The real shit is caring about people. Like, the real hardcore guy is not the guy who just sits there quietly and doesn't talk to anybody. The real hardcore guy is the guy who talks to everybody, right? Who takes on the burden of being involved in everyone's life and wanting to then take the next step and improve everyone's life at the cost of his time, money, you know, effort, whatever it may be. So I rarely get any payback for that, right? And it's hard. It's very draining. There are so many days when I get home and it's like I'm just drained. I'm glazed over. I have nothing left to give, right? So it's just really nice that through building this friendship with him, and him also being, you know, a nice guy, giving me this, it's just like, just so crazy. Like, I'm not used to that being returned to me. I'm used to being the guy who gives and never the guy who, you know, gets anything in return for it. And it was just a huge blessing, guys. I just want to share that with you guys, because it's like, hey, next time, you know, you're thinking about maybe doing something nice for somebody, just know that, you know, sometimes it means the world to us. Like, I've had a really, really hard fucking week. And just that interaction was just such a blessing to me. So cool. So, long story extra long, my buddy did a nice thing for me, and it made me feel nice. Yeah, I think that's about it. We'll probably wrap it up there. It's like 15 minutes of my mindless jibber jabbering. So you guys have a great day. Remember, Christ is King and He loves you. If you do not believe in Him on an academic level, I encourage you to challenge Him. Put Him to the test. Ask Him. Go in an empty room and pray. All that prayer is talking to God, right? So go in an empty room with an open, genuine heart and say, hey, God, I don't believe you exist. Prove me wrong. And watch what He does. I guarantee you something will happen. It may not be in that exact moment, but it'll be something. Even if it's another person being like, hey, God told me to tell you He loves you. Or even down to, like, I had a buddy recently who literally did exactly what I just described in his truck in a parking lot. And God audibly told him, hey, I'm here and I love you. Like, that could very well happen too. But put him to the test, guys. If you just on an academic level don't believe in Christ, then test Him. You know? Don't just for the rest of your life be like, oh, this doesn't make sense to me, so I don't believe it. Put it to the test like a real scientist, like someone who really, seeks knowledge. You test it, and you test it, and you test it, and you test it again. Right? So do that. And if you just don't like God, then I'll ask you why. It probably boils down to some level of hurt that was put on you from another human being, guys, which is dumb. That's like if two people are big fans of a band and another just random person at a concert for that band is a dick to you, then you turn around and start telling people how dog shit the band is? That makes no sense. Like, it wasn't the band's fault that one guy who claimed to be a fan of the band was a dick to you, because the band is probably cool and their music is awesome. It's the same thing with God and Jesus. Like, there are a lot of people who are like, oh, my parents were supposedly Christians, they were hypocrites. Or people who are like, oh, I went to church and the pastor turned out to be a gay pedophile child molester while his wife was dying in the other room. John Schaefer. For a random example, definitely not a real guy from Whittier, California, who now lives in Texas. For my childhood church, Calvary Chapel, Whittier. Not real at all. But that to say, you can't blame God for people who claim to be His followers doing dumb shit, because that is not His fault. So I encourage you, if you're not a Christian, because you're like, Christians suck, I agree. Most Christians do suck. I'm 100% on board with you. Sadly, most of my friends are not Christians, because Christians are so mean to me a lot of the time, right? And there are a lot of blessed brothers and sisters I have that are Christian, and that friendship is on a deeper level than I could ever have with someone who's not Christian. But the fact is, a lot of Christians are mean. So I get it. But I just encourage you to not be mad at the band because some guy who said they were a fan of the band was a dick to you at the show. I'll just say that, right? And if you do want to accept Christ, tell me in the comments, and I'll give you my phone number and we'll talk through it. Or talk to someone in life you know is a solid Christian and see what happens, guys. Because, hell is real and heaven's real. It's a fact. The Bible is true. It's the only book that has any predictions whatsoever that have come to pass in the exact time span and the exact way as described in the book, and it's happened over 2.5 thousand times in the book, and that's just ones that were predicted to already happen so far, right? And it's predicted things that never happened all through history. It's not like, oh, some guy named David is going to make a YouTube channel. No, they predicted Israel was going to become a country again, and guess what happened? It became a country again for the first time in human history that's ever happened. So if you're going to predict something to try to bullshit people, to convince people that you're right, you wouldn't pick something that's never happened in history. I wouldn't predict that a blue whale is going to grow feet, step out of the water, and become, a rock star. But that's what the Bible did. It predicted something that's never happened in the history of mankind, and then it happened. So this stuff is real, guys. I didn't become a follower of Christ because my parents were, or because any other reason whatever that people say that they do. It's because he's real and he proved himself to me. So I just hope that you guys are open to that happening to you, because he will change your life. So I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for listening to me jibber jabber. And if you've listened all the way through, then good on you. I don't know. Comment below the word pineapple and I'll send you a watch or something. All right. Bye.